So now I'm privileged to introduce our guest of honor for today's event, Geetha Johri. The only way to discover the limits of the possible is to go beyond them into the impossible. A very good example of this quote is our guest of honor, Geetha Johri ma'am. She belongs to the 1982 batch of Indian Police Services and was allotted the Gujarat cadre. During her 35 years of service, she has held important positions all across the state, besides being also chosen to serve as managing director for the Gujarat State Police Housing Corporation. She is known to lead the huge police force from the front as the first woman Director General of Police. She also holds the distinction of having represented India in the Veteran International Badminton Championships held at various cities across the world. The government of India has honored her with 2 police medals. Presently, after her retirements, she guides the Cadilla Pharma in corporate security in the capacity of President's Special Duties. We are very happy to have you with us, ma'am. With this, we welcome you and over to you, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you, Kanika. Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah. I thank Dr. Rajput for having given me this opportunity to be a part of a forum and to talk on a subject which is definitely very close to my heart too. We heard a very inspiring journey of our chief guest, Preeti Srivastava, and I'm thoroughly impressed by her too. I became a police officer in the year 1982. And of course, I was, at that particular time in the year 1982, there were not many women in the police force. So it was one very difficult choice for me at that time. But then I was temperamentally suited for this job. And so I decided to go ahead. I had great support from my parents. I always, thinking back, I feel my parents were really empowered. My mother especially, she insisted that we have a good education. We were 3 girls in the house. She educated all 3 of us at Chennai, and we all 3 have made a mark in our life. So I chose the police force, and I had of course, it was not a cakewalk. It had been a long journey of almost 35 years. I think I joined the force about 40 years back. So 35 years I've served the police force. There has been a lot of ups and downs. When I joined the police force, it was a surprise to me that there was not a single basic amenity in the police station for the women. So when I was given my first posting, the Home Secretary was very concerned, and the thing he asked me was, what did you do? There's no washroom in any of the police stations that you are going to be in charge. So I said, sir, I'll manage, that's not the problem. So yeah, that was a very important thing, that because it was a male-dominated force, there were nothing for, no amenities for women in the police stations. And they did not think about it, that it was needed at that point of time, because there were not many women. We had a lot of police conferences, and you won't believe it, that this was one of the major discussions in the women police conferences, that there are no basic facilities in the police stations all over the world, all over the country, India. So it was then we joined together the hands. The number, of course, of women police officers are increasing day by day. So we had a voice, and we conveyed to the government that is very important to have minimum amenities in all the police stations. And I'm glad to say that I was also the MD of the Police Housing Corporation. So we changed the plan of the police station to make it user-friendly for the public and also for the women in the police stations. So we have restrooms, washrooms, and all other facilities. Maybe this is also one of the very important steps to make more women join the police. Of course, now we are only 6% of the whole total force of India. And I hope after the youth who are present here hear me, they will join more in the police, because it's very important that we have more women in the police, because we are half the world, half the population of the world, and we still have so little women in the police. So we need to make it at least 50%. Only then we can cater to the, cater and serve the women, look after them and look after their grievances. Yes, all said all this, I would like to touch upon, Preeti has already touched upon the gender gap that is existing. Yeah, the World Economic Forum has put us in the 140th position, and we seem to have declined in all the parameters: political empowerment, representation of women in the workforce, education and health. And I think Dr. Rajput also touched about this. So these are the matter of great concern for us, that we have declined in all the four in the report of 2021. Now, it could be because of the COVID pandemic that we came down from a position of 112 to 140 this year. But we definitely need to look into this. If the COVID pandemic has put the women on the back seat, the gender gap has increased because of that, then we need to be concerned about it. And I think that is one of the subjects this forum should definitely look into. I would like to touch upon the crimes against the women. Now, the crimes against the women, especially domestic violence, there are plenty of laws in our country which are there for the women to use, but it's only the awareness of these existence of these laws. They do not, the women in the rural areas especially do not know that such laws exist for them to help them. They are not aware of their rights. During my visitations of many murders, I had to go to the villages to take down statements and talk to the women there. I find that most of the reasons for the suicides were because they were not educated, they were not economically independent, and so they take a path which is absolutely wrong. So it's absolutely necessary to go down to the rural areas, to the villages, and empower them, tell them that you have rights, there are laws, there are schemes which are always there to help you. We have a very unique program in Gujarat to educate, to help the girl child in her education. All in the month of June, when the admissions are taking place, all the bureaucrats, all the civil servants, the IAS, IPS, we are all sent to the villages, where we take about 5 schools a day. It is total for 3 days. We take about 15 schools in every village, and we check whether they have the right kind of infrastructure for the girl child. We check if there are dropouts of the girl child, then why, and we try to bring back the girl child back to school. If there is a lack of infrastructure, we report to the government to help the government to give these infrastructure to the girl child so that the education of the girl child could go on. And this program has definitely helped through the years, and there is a definite improvement in the education of the girl child. Of course, we also go there to tell the children that there is not just one profession, that is of a teacher, because they see the teacher every day, they know the profession of the teacher. But there are other professions available to them, like that of a police officer, like of a forest officer, that you can become an IAS, you can become a doctor, and so many other professions are available to you. And that's one reason where we go down to inspire the youth of this country and hope that many more join us. I would like to conclude with just 2 recommendations to the panelists. One is try and reduce the gender gap we should work out strategies at the end of this forum, which would help us to reduce the gender gap, especially in these 4 parameters which the World Economic Forum has taken up: political, then representation of women in the workforce. We want more women in the workforce, in the education sector, and in the health sector. So we could work out strategies in these 4 lines and empower women in them. And secondly, of course, I want people to recommend and create a workshop or a strategy where we can create awareness of the rights of the people and also about the laws, so that we can prevent crimes against women. I thank again the organizers of this forum, and I wish the very best, and I hope that we formulate meaningful recommendations at the end of this forum. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Geetha Johri. One inspiring and a strong woman you are. It was really, really informative, and we are so glad to have you as our guest speaker. It's rightly said, when we empower a woman, we empower an entire nation. So a very good afternoon, everyone.